Good morning, Nigeria. I like to say that TVC has a finger on the pulse and our eyes on the streets. And here on the Trending Now segment, my wonderful team and I do our best to bring you some of the trending stories that are shaping the world that you and I live in. We begin today with this interesting news where a traditional ruler from the southeast publicly urged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to release the convicted leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, or return him to Kenya where he was arrested. Now, this appeal came from Dr. Lawrence Agubuzu, the Eze Ogbunechendo of Ezema Olo Kingdom, during the 2026 National Traditional and Religious Leaders Summit on Health that was held in Abuja. Now, this summit was focused on strengthening grassroots engagement in Nigeria's health reforms. But during goodwill messages, this monarch shifted the tone, warning that Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention is fueling agitation amongst youth in the southeast. Now, Kanu was convicted in November 2025 on terrorism-related charges, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment. He's currently being held at the Sokoto Correctional Center. This is what the monarch had to say.
Out. If we don't want him in Nigeria, return him to Kenya or London, where they took him from. You see, some of us here have been asked to go and work, but the young people in the southeast are so agitated, they can even beat us. We need unity in diversity. So that people, so if you want to deal with us in the southeast. If you have resources for us, give it to us. Don't give it to people who come and say, we are Southern Traditional Rulers Council.
Well, President Tinubu later addressed the summit, although he didn't directly respond to the monarch's appeal that you just watched. Let's have a look at what you had to say about this appeal on social media. AJQ says, where was the king when Kanu was moving anyhow? Did he call him to order? If no, he has no moral right to talk now. If yes, he should allow him enjoy Sokoto. And Badmo says, I love this mode of presentation, very comprehensive and well structured. However, Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu may look alike in their demands, but they differ a lot in their ideologies and strategies. More so, Sunday Igboho is already remorseful and begging all around for forgiveness, while our dear Nnamdi Kanu still believes in court that he has not offended anyone and all his actions are right. If you are the president, would you free Kanu? Team, as usual, very interesting and terse dialogue about to happen. You know, a lot of people, public sentiment is divided on the monarch's appeal. On one hand, people are calling him brave for standing up for Nnamdi Kanu. On the other hand, they're asking a very pertinent question. Are you aware of the carnage that Nnamdi Kanu caused? What do you think about this, Mr. Shomi?
Honestly speaking, listening to the monarch, I also saw through him when he made a point that if you want to give us resources, give it to us, referring to Southeast alone, not the whole of the South. It's still that subtle amplification of the right to self-determination. That is, he agrees with Kanu one way or the other. That's my own reading. But when you actually look at the facts of the case, his appeal to the president, look, Kanu had an opportunity to defend himself in court. He fired his very competent defense team, chose to defend himself. Instead of defending himself, he was abusing the judge. Omotocho, show me the law. That was what he was doing. He refused to defend himself. He was convicted. Now he has gone on appeal. He's in the Court of Appeal. So since the case is sub judice, there's literally nothing anybody can do about it for the time being until the judicial process is exhausted.
For me, if you ask me, you read a tweet that really made a lot of sense. Where was the monarch when Nnamdi Kanu was doing all the atrocities that he was doing? Let's not forget that this is a man that caused a lot of unrest. You know, what happened in the East, the sit at home, is something that Governor Soludo is even still trying to correct at this point. So a lot of things were done. It's a very complex issue. You cannot just now tell the president, oh, release this person. You know, Nnamdi Kanu had a chance to, you know, speak for himself, had a chance, you know, he had a fair chance. But what did he do? He abused that chance. So as a monarch, you cannot just come out and, you know, ask for something that may be very difficult to be achieved. But at the end of the day, the federal government knows best.
Well, it's so interesting, you know, when you're asking someone who also suffered greatly during the time Nnamdi Kanu went, you know, berserk at the time, you know, from his Radio Biafra, when he was commanding people, go to Lagos, destroy the Lagos, go to Murtala Mohammed International Airport, burn it down, go to look for Sanwo-Olu, unalive him, look for these and that. And then he kept saying all of this and people were calling in and he was saying, how many police officers have you also unalived, you know, to use the social media, you know, term. And we also suffer very, very greatly when TVC at the time, state-of-the-art facility that you would never find anywhere better than CNN, was burnt down. Billions of dollars was burnt down, and then everyone was confused. Over 500 staff would have lost their job at the time, if not for the, you know, for the being benevolent, you know, of Mr. President now, you know, saying that no one should be relieved of their duty. And here we are again, rising up like as a phoenix. So asking that same man to, you know, yeah, he's a very generous person. He has a large heart, but unfortunately, the case is not in his hands. Nnamdi Kanu had the right to defend himself, but he also lambasted the judge. So all the same, let it stay its course. Maybe until then, we will see whether there is a political solution or not. Unfortunately, the man that, you know, not convicted him, but that dragged him to court is, you know, is dead.
You know, somewhere in that address, the monarch also proposed, you know, a Southeast Council, which many people are pushing back against. And I hope that that's the angle that we focus on, the economic empowerment of the Southeast, as opposed to figures like this. Thank you so much for your input, team. Moving on, a viral video showing a Nigerian man accusing government-linked actors of oil theft is gaining some traction online, and it's reigniting conversations about who's truly responsible for Nigeria's crude losses. In this video, this man alleges that some officials are involved, despite warnings from former militant leader government Ekpeme Pulo, also known as Tom Pulo, urging local actors to stay away from illegal bunkering. This is what he had to say.
For my eye shift, Tempulo. Okay, he said, "No, to fire again." Now look at them. See them. They go load crude oil. Show them the river. Show them the badge. They go load. There are some they are illegal and there are some legal. They go load. But then they do the fire now. Today now who they for us? No below you be pipeline surveillance. Do your work. No go do our work so that our resource control will continue. And then our Niger Delta Republic go still go forward. Thank you, my brother.
Now, for some context, Tom Pulo currently leads pipeline surveillance operations that are linked to contracts connected to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, and it's part of Nigeria's broader strategy to help reduce crude theft using local intelligence and community-based protection. This effort also aligns with certain reforms under Nigeria's Petroleum Industry Act that are aimed at improving transparency, host community involvement, and protection of Nigeria's oil infrastructure. But that man is saying none of our crude is being protected. You saw a barge behind him, but let's see what you have to say about social media. Chibu Okorie says, I think we have little to no idea of the amount of money that is lost daily due to stolen natural resources. I keep maintaining this. Nigeria has absolutely no business with poor countries. We have all the resources to be with the top nations. I'll take two more tweets. Felix Adejimi says, what's the essence of the monthly $48 billion contract given to Tom Pulo when he continues to allow government officials to steal crude oil? The federal government should engage whistleblowers to monitor Tom Pulo's performance. Ismail says, you can't tell the locals to protect the environment while they watch high-ranking officials and vessels with clearance siphon the wealth of the land. If Tom Pulo's surveillance doesn't include the untouchables, then it's just a selective crack down. Tima, you heard that man. He essentially said to Tom Pulo, who we know has been giving contracts to effectively surveil, you know, our crude pipelines and distribution. He's saying, do your job. I wouldn't say he was threatening him, but there was a tone in his voice saying, you know, we listened to you, we stopped, you know, bunkering oil, and here people are doing it on a grand scale while we are left hungry. It sort of reminds you of the Niger Delta movement of that year, Mr. Shomi.
Yeah, absolutely. It's common knowledge that many of the weapons in the Niger Delta were procured through illicit trade with some Ukrainians, you know, through oil bunkering in exchange for oil, stolen oil theft. Tompolo has been brought in with a view to help stabilize the situation. He has made huge progress in terms of reduction in oil theft in Nigeria. We now have about 10% less, you know, so he's very close to the job. Just along with the Nigerian naval officials, they are also involved. It's not just about Tompolo. So at the end of the day, we know that oil theft cannot happen without some measure of official complicity or some top officials being involved one way or the other. But to say that they are not doing much or they have not done their job, they are doing their job, but they can still do more. I think that's the major point in this.
If you ask me, yes, a job is being done, but yes, we want more. More can be done, you know, to protect this. And, you know, when it comes to oil theft, I tell people you're stealing from yourself. Because if you're stealing from Nigeria, you're Nigerian, you're actually stealing, you know, from yourself. It's a very bad one. Oftentimes, you know, we bring out cases like this where people are thieving this oil that can be used for something better, you know, out of human greed. That's the problem. So I understand where this man is coming from. And just what I want to say is that, please, let's try to protect, you know, our own. We're very rich in Nigeria. There's nothing we don't have. Like, we are the giants of Africa. But then if things like this keep happening, that's when you see our economy start shaking. So we need to regulate this. We need to do more to make sure that we're keeping our oil safe.
And if you see these people, you know, behind closed doors, they'll be telling you, they'll be accusing the government, blaming the government, saying that the government is stealing this, stealing that, but then you are not in government and you're doing this. So whoever is charged, I think Tompolo, Tantita Security is, you know, having surveillance, you know, ensuring that it protects our pipeline and all of that. So investigations have to be carried out, because I know that they do this within, in cahoots with foreigners, when they bring in the ship, the vessel, they steal the oils, and then turn off the, is it AIS or AES or something in the sea, they won't be able to track them. So whoever is responsible for stealing our national patrimony, our common resources, then such person should be brought to justice, regardless of their status.
Absolutely, and definitely, hopefully, the delicate balance that's been reached in the Niger Delta currently isn't breached. Thank you so much for your input, team. Moving on into the world of social media. In a moment that has social media talking, a viral video shows an unidentified prominent figure stepping out of his convoy and openly urinating by the roadside, which is an act that you and I know violates public sanitation laws. Now, this footage captures the man exiting one of the vehicles in his convoy, walking to the side of the road and appearing to relieve himself while traffic continues to move. A bottle of water can be seen in his hand right there. Well, online reports initially claimed that this individual was a northern governor, but I'm here to say that there is no official confirmation to support that claim. So we have to be very careful. But at this time, the identity of the man remains unverified. But what is clear is that the unusual roadside stop has drawn widespread attention, and it's raising questions about conduct and accountability in public spaces. Let's have a look at social media. I'd hate to be him. Lagos Car says, is he supposed to pee there, defecating, defacing, and fouling the street with a stench? The World Health Organization designated Nigeria as a country of concern because we defecate in public. Is this not a very shameful example and testament to this barbaric behavior? Jean-Claude says, they won't do this nonsense when they visit European countries. No wonder we are considered a country of jokes. When people claim a city smells badly, these are the types of people that ensure that happens. Now, team, I thought it was important to take this story for two reasons. One is that there's been a lot of social media commentary that this was a northern governor, and I thought it was important to debunk that claim. He's not a sitting official that we know. His face has not been placed, so we have to stop that. On the other hand, I thought it was a teachable moment and a chance for us to have dialogue and discourse about public urination. We are now seeing that it doesn't have any class systems. You think it's only certain economic classes that do this. You're seeing this man, he's all white, who has stopped his convoy to come down and urinate on the side of the road, Mr. Shomi.
Well, absolutely. It also raises issues around public toilets. Do we really have a public toilet around the place? This is not just one-off thing. Ordinary people are doing this day in, day out. So yes, it might be a governor. Notwithstanding that, again, we need to look at provision of toilet facilities in public places so that you know that within an average of 30 minutes drive, at least there is a convenience somewhere.
For me, I'll say we need to train ourselves well. Not because we don't have public toilets, you go urinating all around Nigeria and making the place smell. You know, there can be a restaurant that you can go into and do your business. There's so many things. There are times that I need to ease myself, and then I'm going into a restaurant straight. I will not go and stay somewhere by the road because I understand that it will pollute the air. So I feel like this is with we humans. There are some things that we should learn. There's some things that we should know, that we shouldn't do. Can you go to abroad and do this? Even if you're so pressed in London, I bet you will not come down from your car and say you want to ease yourself. So let's just do better. We all want a better Nigeria. It starts with us. Like you said, we don't know who the person is, but whoever the person is, honestly, I pray that that person will face the full weight of the law, because it doesn't even make sense at all. What you cannot do abroad, why are you doing it in Nigeria? Yeah.
So I think this person, holding water, must definitely be a Muslim. Yeah. And I believe, I so know that it is very, very wrong for a Muslim to pee anywhere, even in public, not just without you using water, but then peeing indiscriminately in places where you're not supposed to pee. It's something that can make you enter hellfire, according to the Islamic injunction. Yeah. So this person should know better. If this person has influence, as Mr. Ashomi had said, what about public toilets? Rhea, you made a very fantastic point. Whenever I'm pressed, I look for the nearest. They have it there, banks. You can always walk in, get into their convenience center, and then you do your thing. So what if we keep talking about open defecation? This is part of it. You're breaking the law. So if there is a law that is in existence, I didn't have the opportunity to check, but if there's a law that is in existence that criminalizes this person should face the full law, so that serves as a lesson to anyone who does this.
We're constantly calling out Lagos State and talking about the environment and pollution and holding them accountable. What about us? What do you want Lagos State to do about this man who has made a personal decision to deface our surroundings? It is well. Thank you so much for your input, team. Moving on into the household, as more Nigerians turn to solar power to escape unreliable electricity, a viral video from Lagos is raising new safety concerns. Now, this footage shows flames destroying 2 semi-detached homes after what residents first described as a small puff of smoke that was spotted in a neighborhood chat group. Well, early images suggest that the fire may have started below the rooftop solar panels, possibly linked to internal wiring or inverter systems, not necessarily the solar panels themselves. Now, energy experts say that solar panels are generally fire resistant, but poor installation, fake or low-quality batteries and substandard electrical components have been linked to recent incidents, including battery explosions and inverter-related fires. This incident is also, of course, exposing a lot of growing tension in many urban homes between tenants who are seeking reliable power through rooftop solar and landlords who are very concerned about the fire safety and the liability involved with solar paneling. But as Nigeria's solar transition accelerates, the bigger question might not be whether solar is safe or not, but whether the rush to adopt it is moving faster than regulation and installation standards can keep up with. Let's have a look at social media. I'll take 2 tweets. Two-time engineer says, I have argued this many times that most of the fires caused by solar inverter batteries never comes from the battery or panel or inverter itself. 90% of the time, it's from the conductor, the wire, or something else. Always use a company or person that understands load analysis. Ureo. Fred says, just one bad installation out of hundreds of thousands. Normal NEPA lights can also cause this. I've been off-grid and on solar for over 3 years, and it's perfectly safe. Team, because of our time, can you just touch on this very, very quickly?
Yeah, it's quite clear that solar panels, are almost like fireproof. So it's not really about the panel. It's always about the materials used, the wiring. The wires should be up to standard. They require standard. And secondly, what about the contractor installing it? The moment you pick up just somebody just off down the road, to fix it, then they might be doing the wrong thing, eventually leading to fire. So we need to adhere strictly, to the rules, to safety rules. That is, get the appropriate materials, the appropriate wires, and get a qualified technician to do the installation.
Of course, you want it cheap, that's what you get. Nothing is wrong with solars. Maybe the way that, because I use solar as well, maybe the way that it was installed, you went to a cheaper person. When you want something cheap, you always get a disaster.
Well, some of these things happen not because they bought it cheap. Well, it's because the installer, the person who did the installation, technician, they didn't use the right material. That's why we have to always ensure that things are regulated and we pay attention. You don't just pay money, but you look at what the person is using and get another person to, do a foolproof of those materials.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your input, team. Now, here on the